Here we are, here today to talk about uh, do you have a system of management in your company? You've got a system for everything else. You've got a system for onboarding uh, clients. Hopefully, you've got a system for onboarding new employees. You've got a system for how you produce the products that you make. You've got a system for how you deliver the services that you deliver. There are systems all over your company. And if you're like a lot of companies, then you don't have a system for this is how we manage people around here. So let's take a moment and state the obvious. Why do businesses have systems? Well, you've got systems in order to have consistency and quality control. You've got systems in order to be able to grow and expand and not be tripped up by a lack of order and organization. And uh, you've got systems also so that you're growing your company as an asset, as a saleable asset. And it's the systems that people are buying very often when they're buying your company. When you go to sell your company, it's the systems within that company as much as anything else that people are buying and that grow value. And a system for managing people is no different, because it's a crucial part of your culture. If you think about culture as this is the stuff we do, these are the tendencies for behavior in our company, then having a system of management is one major contributor to your company's culture. So let's look at three reasons that I think you need to have a system of management around here, a system for this is how we manage people in this company. First one, there is a lot of what I think of as conventional unwisdom about leadership. All right. There are people who say things like, if you don't have a problem, if you don't have a solution, then don't bring me a problem. That is a pretty common way of managing people. Another one is, I hire good people and then I get out of their way, which uh, all by itself isn't a problem, but it's the staying out of their way. It's the way people think about what does it mean to be out of their way. I don't micromanage is very different. There's micromanaging, for example, is much less common than undermanagement or absentee management. So there's a lot of conventional unwisdom out there. Leadership style is one of those things. The idea that I can't count the number of interviews that I've seen where one of the questions is, what is your leadership style? Tell us about your leadership style. And I think about leadership style kind of like I think about driving. My father and I both have our own driving style. Your experience of being driven by me would be a little bit different from your experience of being driven by my father. For example, I accelerate from a stoplight faster than my father does. And yet we both stop at the stoplight because there is science about how to get from point A to point B. There are things that you must do in a car in order to get safely from point A to point B, to get there efficiently, to get there effectively, and to get there safely. And the same thing is true with managing people. Your style is a tiny little bits of difference on the margin of effective leadership, where the bulk of it is about what is effective. And there's science, there is research to show us what is effective and what isn't effective. And too many people, too many companies rely on somebody having a good leadership style instead of really looking at the science and the research of what it takes to effectively lead people to where you need them to get. So that's reason number one, is to avoid some of the conventional unwisdom and the lack of training, the lack of know-how that so many managers end up with. So the second reason that I think you need to have a system of management in your company is to create a consistency of employee experience across time and across the teams. If somebody goes from one team to another in your company, their experience of being an employee in your company should not change drastically. And yet in so many companies, it does. And it changes because the leadership behaviors change. And I'm going to say that again, the leadership behaviors change. And so just like when you have a system for this is how we onboard clients or customers, or this is how we make our widget, what you're looking at is actually a system largely is a system of behaviors. We do this, and then we do this, and then we do this, A, B, C. And so if somebody moves from team to team and the leadership, the management behaviors change drastically, then the experience of that employee is going to change drastically. And they may go from being a loyal, long-term employee to suddenly not enjoying their work and their experience in your company at all, because there isn't a consistency across time and across teams. So this is your brand as an employer. Is your culture. Your culture is your brand as an employer, the experience that people have working there. And so I'll also say that having a system for managing people is an incredibly powerful tool also for managing the behaviors of everybody on your team, which, by the way, is my definition of what is culture. It is the behaviors that exist in your company. Some people have said that your culture is defined by the worst behaviors tolerated in your company. And boy, for a lot of companies, that is really troubling. So having an effective and proven system of management also manages your employer brand, your ability to magnetize talent, to bring in top talent from outside, and to keep that talent loving the work that they're doing in the place that they're doing their work. The third and final reason today for why you should have a system of management, and that is that the age-old adage, you get what you measure. And I think that it was likely Peter Drucker who first said that, brought that expression into our business lives. You get what you measure, and you've got to measure behaviors first, because behaviors lead to results. And in the previous item, I named that leadership behaviors, management behaviors, is really what you need. And so if you don't have a standard against which to measure a leader's behavior, to measure managers' behavior, then you don't have something to use as an evaluative tool. How are you doing as a manager? Are you doing what is needed? Not only are you getting the results that you need out of your team, but are you doing the things that it takes to get the results that you need out of your team? And if you don't have a system of management, a standard of these are the behaviors that we need managers to do in our company, that we ask and expect managers to do, then you don't have a way of keeping managers accountable to the effective behaviors, the behaviors that a manager would do that lead to strong results. I'm Aaron Schmuckler, company culture engineer and CEO at the Yes Works, where we help companies engineer the kind of culture that it takes to have a company where people and profits both thrive. We have a system of management we'd be more than happy to share with you. And if you've got culture questions, this is the stuff I love to talk about. I'm doing my life's work here, and so I open my doors to you. Hope this video has been useful, and hope you have an absolutely fantastic work life, you and all the people you work with.